Checked.
A little loud.
Call this meeting to order. The Moorhead Economic Development Authority. Start with a roll call.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members present today include Anderson, Balco, Coda, Larson, Moore, Schofield, Sobolik, and White.
Thank you. Agenda amendments.
Yes, we do have one agenda amendment today. Unfortunately, David Heyer, our business development representative for the Minnesota Department of Employment and Economic Development, fell ill over the weekend, so was not able to make the trip up to us here today. We do anticipate rescheduling that. I also wanted to make a comment. We were hoping, and maybe this works out, maybe not in David's good fortune, but to try to get David and James Whirlwind Soldier, the DEED strategist, workforce strategist for our region as well, to have both of them at the same time. Maybe we make a DEED day out of it. But I was actually at a meeting a couple weeks ago with James, who did a great presentation on some of the workforce data in our region, and I thought it'd be a really relevant conversation and discussion with our group too. So hoping we'll be able to reschedule with both of them and get a lot out of that group when they're up here too. So that is our agenda amendment, is no 6A today.
Okay. Thank you, Derek. Next item, approving the minutes from last meeting. We'd like a motion and a second on that.
White moves to approve.
All right, citizens to be heard. Stacia with Moorhead Business Association.
Hi there. Good afternoon. As you said, my name is Stacia Seisma, the Executive Director at the Moorhead Business Association. We're a group dedicated to helping local businesses grow. Last month, we got to have our Business Expo, which featured 28 amazing businesses that got to showcase exactly what they do. And a huge thank you to our venue sponsor, Courtyard by Marriott, for helping making that happen. And here's what we have coming up. The MBA is sponsoring Food Fight for Devlin's First. So in honor of Devlin Brooks's first anniversary at Churches United, we're gonna host a food fight. But it's a friendly competition for businesses to do a food drive. Participating businesses will serve as drop-off locations for non-perishable food items, with all of them being due by August 12th. Then on August 14th, we'll meet at Swing Barrel at 4 p.m. and do a great unveil for the winner. Should be a fun time for a great cause. As always, we meet on Wednesdays from 12 to 1 at the Moorhead American Legion for Let's Talk Business. If you want a full list of speakers, they're on our webpage. Our Nonprofit Connect will be on August 21st, 7:30 a.m. Habitat for Humanity will be speaking at Village Inn. So if you're a morning person, you should really check it out while you can. As always, thank you for supporting the MBA.
Thank you, Stacia. Any questions from commissioners? I don't believe so. Okay, thank you. I don't believe there's any commissioners' reports, so we will move along to our presentations for today, and we've just got one. We've got Paul Campbell with Goldmark Commercial Real Estate.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. As Paul goes up to the podium, I'll give a little background here. So Paul Campbell is a Moorhead resident with Goldmark Commercial. Paul and Brett Saladin and the Goldmark team are our newest Makara Real Estate Services team that is helping us with the land sales in the industrial park, as well as some of the other city assets and land that we have around the area. We had a great group of folks that were a part of the review committee that went through those interviews. I think we were all very impressed with Paul and their team, what they put together. And we officially started with Goldmark here on July 1st, so we thought it was important to bring Paul in. Brett was not able to make it today. He's out of town, but we'll definitely have Brett back here for another time. But thought it would be important to have Paul say a few words here to our EDA, and we're also going to do it for our council members. We're going to try to have Paul and Brett at a future council meeting too, to introduce them to you all as well. So with that, I'll turn it over to you, Paul, for a little bit.
Thank you, Derek, and thanks everyone for having me. I think I've met most, if not all of you. If I have not, feel free to reach out. Would love to grab a cup of coffee or just meet and get more acquainted. So, like Derek said, we have the unique privilege of representing the city of Moorhead in some commercial real estate matters, which we're very excited about. I'm a Moorhead resident, so it's home to me. So it means a lot to me to rep the city. Brett Saladin is the other agent who will be leading the way with me. Our team has 8 agents total. Us two will be leading this project. And we're excited to get going. We already have gotten going on McCara, obviously, and there'll be some other projects in the future too. But we're excited about everything that's going on in Moorhead. And our job is to sell Moorhead and sell the individual property, obviously, but sell the city as part of that. So we're excited to get going. You know, throughout the process, we jumped on it right away. We were excited to get going, applying for it. And I think what sets our brokerage apart a little bit, number one, is our team of agents. Like I said, we have 8 agents, and we have a really diverse group of backgrounds. I was a full-time licensed attorney. We have a full-time commercial banker, or previously full-time commercial banker, a licensed architect on staff. We have a licensed auctioneer on staff. So people have started businesses, people who have managed and owned property themselves. So it's just a very unique group of people. And with that comes a vast network and a lot of experience that we've had. So that's one reason. Number two, we like data. We're data nerds at Goldmark Commercial. I think a lot of you saw the presentation, but we have a huge database that we track all the leasing in our market and all the sales in our market. And happy to go over that with anyone who wants to see that, who has not seen it before, and happy to help with any questions too. We're kind of all encompassing with the city. So if you guys have questions or need, whether it's vacancy rates or comps for certain properties, if you're just curious or whatever, feel free to call me or Brett, and we'd be happy to help you. So that's another reason. And number 3, like I said, just our passion for the city. I'm a resident here. I'm very passionate about it. I'm involved in some other organizations. Brett, who's also, he's been involved in Moorhead Country Club, and he's done a lot of real estate deals in Moorhead too. So I think I have probably maybe 5 or 6 other Moorhead listings right now, and I know he's done a lot of work the past couple years too. So as a brokerage, we're at, I think, just cleared about $500 million in total sales and leasing since 2020, I believe. So we're probably the most active brokerage in the market. So it's a really good fit, and we're really excited to be partnering with the city on it. So if anyone has any questions, like I said, feel free to contact me, and we'll go from there.
Thank you, Paul. Any commissioner questions for Paul? You know, Paul, a few of us on the board here were at those interviews where you presented and you made a really compelling case for working with Goldmark. What are, maybe share with some of those that weren't at that presentation, kind of some of the strategies I think that you guys are going to employ or already have started, maybe some of the steps you've already taken with these properties, and kind of the potential that you see there for what differentiates these listings from other sites throughout the FM area.
Yeah, absolutely, Nate. No, thanks for the question. McCara's already been relisted, so that was obviously listed with another brokerage before. That's back on the market now as of the 1st. And we just kind of revamped our marketing brochure. That obviously sets incentives is a big deal with McCara. So our job is to sell that. Our job too is to sell Moorhead as opposed to Fargo or West Fargo or Dilworth or any of the surrounding cities, obviously. In the works, we're going to make kind of an all-encompassing marketing video for McCara and also the city. We feel that's important, especially for market people who don't know differences between Fargo, Moorhead, West Fargo, that type of thing. So really that way. But yeah, we've got drones out there and signage out there, so we're hitting the ground running. As far as McCara's already been getting one of the projects too. But yeah, I'd say just our vast network kit, and then our marketing strategies is we're going to sell some dirt at McCara and some buildings elsewhere.
Thank you very much. We're excited to be partnering with you. Derek?
comment would just be, and I know Paul just mentioned it about telling the story, and I think that's what spoke to so many of us that were in those interviews. Is we've been trying to do that for such a long time here. Is just show the importance and articulate the importance of what is different in Moorhead and what opportunities exist here too, whether that is incentives or connections that we may have, etc. State incentives is another big one. So that ability, I think, to tell our story and to have a group that's well connected as Goldmark, I think is going to be a critical asset for us to see some more action in that industrial park as well. So thanks, Paul, for being here.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, moving on to our business items. Business A, enterprise zone.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So as one of the tools in Moorhead's economic development toolbox, we have the enterprise zone. One of it is our most used business retention tool that we have available for us, and in some cases we also use it for business attraction. Each year we come before to give you some updates on what happened last year, and then to ask you to make a recommendation to the City Council for setting the credit amount and the cap amount for this year's workers' compensation program. That program is takes your actual work compensation and rebates a percentage of that. In the report, I have given you a lot of details about the number of businesses that applied last year and completed that application, the number of equivalent employees represents, and the credit amount that was used. Also, a little further down in the report, you'll see the account balance that we ended the year. You can see that there's a fairly healthy balance there, which is not a bad thing. Also indicated how we market the program, and you'll see 6 or 7 bullet points there on different ways that we get the word out during the year, at the beginning of the year, in the middle of the year, during the year. Derek is talking about it quite often with businesses and also organizations and speaking engagements and things like that. So we are always getting the word out. We get questions about why there is an account balance, and that came up this year probably more than any other year. And what I would say to that is prior to the state legislature giving the city of Moorhead an annual allocation, which happened in 2020, allocations came very sporadic. Sometimes there was 3 years between, 4 or 5 years between allocations that were given. And as you can see on the trend line that's on within the report, it's a pretty jagged trend line. It's real hard to plan for the future, and some of those each year those credit amounts were coming down. Instead of being able to give like a 25% credit, it was coming down to 20, 15, 10, and you can see that represented in that line there. When we got to 2017, there was a very generous allocation given by the state of Minnesota, $3 million for all of the border cities, of which Moorhead's share was $2 million. Then just a couple years later, we did receive an ongoing appropriation, which was amazing and so much easier to be able to project the program for the future. So that is the major reason why there is a balance currently, is that influx in 2027 followed by an annual appropriation. Our border cities, the workers' comp program takes about 75% of that allocation each year. So to to continue to raise that allocation, or the amount we would spend on an ongoing business program like work compensation, it may not be sustainable. So that is why we tend to want to keep that credit level pretty even. Having a fund balance provides us with the opportunity to give an income tax credit up to $3,000 per employee per year for employees where for a business that's coming to town, new business, and it preserves the readiness to give meaningful incentive to a desired business at that level to level the playing field. Lastly, on my report, I talk about the application system, which has been, I feel a lot of businesses are liking that online application system, being able to track where their application is in real time. So we're happy that we're able to continue with that and move forward with that. So that, if there's any questions from the board, I'd be happy to answer them.
And if I can, I might add one more thing too. So sorry, Amy did a great job there. I just think it's important to mention too, and this was brought up by Lisa Bodie, our government affairs. We were looking at some changes and some tweaks to the language of border cities. That did not happen this year, but that would have opened up a lot more flexibility on what we could do and who we could give these credits to. We're still hopeful that something like that could happen. So I think having that healthy budget is important. As Amy had mentioned too, these impacts by large projects, I think we can think of some large projects that we're working on right now that could eat up a healthy portion of that as well. So I think the willingness for us to be ready and having that strong reserve is important. We certainly want to make sure we get the funds out and they're going to good work, which I think they truly are with this workers' compensation program. But I'm hopeful that we're going to see some maybe tweaks and some changes that can open the door for more opportunities in years to come as well. So just wanted to throw that little bit in there as well.
Thank you, Derek. Any commissioners? Commissioner White.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have several questions. I'll start with my first ones. I know you said we had 88 businesses, but somewhat fewer businesses, but higher FTEs, which is great. I just wondered, how many new businesses did we pick up? And were there, for some of the ones that we lost, I'm assuming you did follow-up. Do we have a sense of what happened, why they didn't apply again? Are they not in business anymore? And so I'm going to start with that and let you answer, and then I have a follow-up.
Okay. What I would say is that oftentimes the businesses may start the application process, but for whatever reason, they are not able to complete. So they might not have been able to get all of the paperwork into the system and approved in a meaningful way in time. So it doesn't mean that a business that has been lost. It just means that for this year, for whatever reason, they weren't able to complete the application. And so we'll pick them up again next year. Nobody really leaves my list unless I know for sure that they are out of business or have moved.
I'll just say too, keep in mind that we obviously help, and Amy does a lot of this, is just getting the word out and sending those reminders, but a lot of this review ends up then going through the state, right? So a lot of times then we'll get a question, or there'll be a change in staffing that creates these kind of audit questions that can be mundane to a lot of businesses that have maybe answered that same question several times. So a lot of times it's picking up the pieces with some new staff that we're working with at the state level to hopefully be able to continue to assist some of our businesses as well.
Thanks, and I also really appreciate the extensive outreach that you've done. My second question, first of all, I do share your frustration that we weren't able to get the legislation that would allow us to have a little more flexibility this year. Hopefully we can later. And so I'm looking at the cap, that $30,000 cap, and our rate. So wondering how many are reaching that cap, and so is that still a good cap? I think I know the answer to some of these, because you've just said, we don't want to throw everything away. You know, we don't want to lose that reserve because we could have changes later. But I do know that, again, we weren't able to get some of the flexibility, and also folks are concerned about paid family medical leave coming online and wondering, would this be a year, even if it was just for a year of, this isn't the same thing as covering paid family medical leave, but for some of those businesses, if we were to do something to tweak either the cap or the rate a little bit, it might help alleviate some of that as we're onboarding that new expense that some businesses will feel.
The number of businesses that reach that program cap each year, it can vary, but it's usually 2 or 3. And then at least 50 to 75% of the businesses are receiving $10,000 or less. So we have a lot of business participation, and they're participating at much less than that program cap.
I'll maybe just say, I think your idea is a good one. We've been debating that for a long time as far as, how do we create, whether that's right now it's workers' compensation, but maybe it's just a credit or a compensation for general disparities, right? It gets a little bit more complicated than that, but we know that paid leave is going to be a big issue for a lot of our businesses. I think to Amy's point earlier, we don't want to create something that becomes not sustainable for us, right? That's the biggest concern that we have. But I do think, I think it's worth exploring. We'll put it that way. We could consider something maybe of the percentages or something like that. Maybe it is a little bit of an increase, but I think we got to be cautious of making sure we're not putting ourselves behind the 8 ball in future years too. We'd hate to take away something that a business could get in the future.
Commissioner Schofield, did you have a comment?
Thank you. Just a question, Amy, thank you, Mr. Chair. On page 7, the 3rd paragraph from the bottom, the enterprise zone statute for new businesses with a tax credit of up to $3,000. Is there a cap on that as well of the $30,000, or is there no cap on that?
That would be on a case-by-case basis. So that would be based on the project that's coming in. So that would be for,
Yeah, the simplest way, there is no cap on that one. So that's really like as an incentive to a new business that's coming in that we can offer these credits. Again, there's very specific languages of what type of jobs, what type of industry, et cetera, right? So, we would look at that with, what other incentives that we're having, work with that industry to see what could be a good value amount based on our reserves as well too. And that's why we have like that committed kind of $500,000 for a future one. Like it could be, a business that comes in with 100 employees, that could be very, very quick with our cost. So, but there is no cap on that one. We don't have a policy, or there's no cap from the state or anything like that says we are limited.
Okay, that was just kind of one of my questions with some of the big things that we have coming in now, and I know that you are very diligent about keeping these reserves, but just a question. Thank you.
I'll just be honest. I mean, my hope is, and I think we all know this as EDA members and community leaders, where we see some of the biggest challenges and disparities is where you look at retail and restaurants and things like that, right? That's where we're hopeful. Again, not being overly critical, but a lot of the policies that are in place are what I would describe, or maybe Dan describes it even better, but like just old school economic development, primary sector, manufacturers, industry. And that's not a disrespect to Joey over there with EDC, but I think we know as our community, and we've heard enough from people and businesses of where the pinch points are. And we're hopeful that in future years, we'll be able to have a tool that gives us that ability to help where help is needed too.
If I could just double down, I completely agree. This is where that modernization of the program is phenomenally important if we're going to grow our own.
All right, so it looks like staff recommendation is for the 25% credit, maintaining the 25% credit with the $30,000 program cap. for the 2025 year. Yes, Commissioner White.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to make sure, so if we pass this recommendation, would you still have the flexibility later if you felt like there was a opportunity to tweak a little bit so that we could perhaps provide an added incentive to help with things like paid family medical leave?
It's a good question that I probably don't have an immediate answer for. I mean, for this particular part of the program, the workers' compensation part, we would be sort of strapped into that.
Okay.
There will be a public hearing in front of the city council, the first meeting of September, I believe. And between then and now, we would have, an opportunity to tweak, but once it's approved.
I mean, I'll maybe just throw something out here too. I mean, I would say if you're looking at that percentage point, maybe there is a couple points that you guys want to look at increasing today. I don't think that's going to, blow the anticipated budget or anything like that. I think if we start getting above 30, I think we maybe need some time to do an analysis and maybe come back with some figures and estimates for you. But I think if we wanted to boost that a little bit, I think that's well within the EDA's ability, and then we can certainly report back on what that number would look like, and obviously with the public hearing, we'd be getting that number to the council members as well.
And again, this is just a recommending body to the council who will ultimately approve. So with that, we'd like a motion from someone on either these numbers or a different proposal. Yes, Commissioner Moore.
Thank you, Chair. Frugal Fanny here. I love a rainy day fund. I love a savings account. I love how this is being managed. Quick question though, because it's just not clear to me. We had 2.2 million and then it shows negative 450 for the rebate program and then negative 500K for the reserve for future high value project. And so those are deducted and we're left with 1.3 million. My question is, that 500K that came out for the high value project, didn't really, it's still there.
Correct.
Okay, and
Yeah.
it's just sitting in like a CD or a savings or a, like?
These are just a what if some credit was to be approved in the future, and it would to be around that $500,000. This is what that would look like. This is how much that would bring that account down to.
Okay. So our balance isn't 1.3, our balance is really 2.2. Okay, thank you.
Commissioner White.
Thank you. I'd like to recommend that we recommend to the City Council approve up to 27%, and that would give the staff the flexibility to determine if that is where if they want to go that high. But I think giving them the chance to explore that and see if we could add a little bit more for this year, at least, given some of the other added costs, and it might give them some leverage as they're talking to businesses. So I would like to just change it to up to 25% credit, keep the cap the same.
Just to clarify, 27%?
Up to 27%, yes. So instead of 25%, I'm sorry, approve up to 27% credit of the actual workers' compensation expense with a $30,000 program cap for the 2025 program year.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner White. We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second, Moore.
Moore. All right. So again, we have a motion and a second for 27% credit on the workers' comp with a program cap of $30,000 for the 2025 program year. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you all. That concludes item 7A. Moving on to 7B, preliminary budget and tax levy continued discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We included this opportunity for the board members to relook at what was presented at the last meeting. Within the report itself, it talks about some changes to the 2020 from the 2025 budget. So there's a little bit of an increase in the professional services budget. Lobbying is also increased, and there's a increase in the entrepreneurial set aside. And the first two items were essentially, just sort of planned incremental increases. The entrepreneurial set aside increased from 20,000 to 40,000. We see that need for supporting our new entrepreneurial center, the Spark Center in the Library Community Center, which is going to be opening in 2026. So with that, I would ask for any questions or entertain, some discussion.
And just to clarify, Amy, we're just looking at setting that max levy.
Yep,
that's
that's
all
correct.
that we're needing to do. And in full transparency, we don't need to do that until potentially next month's meeting, but we do have the opportunity to do it today here if everyone feels ready.
Yeah, I think based on, we didn't receive any feedback or questions the last time, that we felt like it was appropriate to bring it forward here today and see if that's where the board is feeling that we can move towards and continue our progression with the budget as well.
And if
City
I
Manager
could, process-wise, so what will happen here is then this recommendation would go to the city council as part of the preliminary budget approval. And to your point, Chair Anderson, that's the second meeting of September where the max levy would be set. Then this will come back before December, the final budget, where the final budget is approved. So if there's any further discussion that the EDA or the council is interested in asking the EDA to explore further, we still have the next 5 months to do that. So this is requesting approval of a preliminary budget recommendation to the city council.
Thank you, City Manager Molly. Any comments, questions, thoughts from commissioners on this? Hearing none, is anyone interested in making a motion to approve the max levy as we've done in years past, the amount of $789,857?
I'll make that motion, Chair. So I'll make a motion to recommend to the City Council approval of a preliminary max levy budget of $789,857 for a preliminary budget of, is it the 809,857?
That is correct.
For the 2026 budget year.
We have a motion on the floor. Any second?
I will second Schofield.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you all.
You.
Our final item is Economic Development Report. Derek.
Yeah, thank you all. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a few things here, a little shorter agenda. It's, I was out all last week and then just got in here with a 5 a.m. Drive up from the cities. So I wanted to see all your smiling faces today. But there's a lot of activity in our downtown district, as you all are probably seeing. We just got word here that Downtown Chiropractic has moved into their new location with the new 650 Center building that Mr. Bartram has put together. Which is great, and seeing them in their new space, I hope will really flourish. We're continuing to see the infrastructure development, the roads, Minnesota Avenue, Red River Avenue, so many other things that are happening within that site, which is fantastic, including obviously the Library Community Center. So we're continuing to work with developers. We got a couple that are really proceeding well with some conversations on a future opportunity there. So excited to see what will come together here in the next couple months, and just understand that dynamic is obviously complex with how many moving parts are in that site too. On May 22nd, Mayor Shelley Carlson and MBA with Stacia and I were asked to join Tyler Fischbach for the Fargo Moorhead West Fargo Chamber Link Show, radio show, a new show that they've hosted. I think that was their 10th episode. So we were able to talk Moorhead for a good hour, discuss a lot of great things that are happening in our community. Thought it was a great panel and just the unity between obviously Downtown Moorhead Inc., Moorhead Business Association, and certainly the city of Moorhead, and just all the great things that are happening. And I truly feel that us all working together has brought us into a better spot too. So that I haven't had a chance to share it, but I know MBA and the city and the mayor have shared it on their personal channels. So if you have an opportunity to go check that out, look at Facebook and the Chamber's YouTube videos as well. DG Fuels and Greater MSP Sustainable Aviation Fuel Workshop. So on May 21st, I traveled down to the Twin Cities and attended the Greater MSP's Sustainable Aviation Fuel Workshop in Minneapolis. It was a day-long event focused on the state of Minnesota's efforts to attract SAF industries. This was a pretty robust room. I don't know what their outreach was, but I wish some of our local legislators were invited, because there were some Minneapolis-St. Paul legislators there that were on a panel, and I wish we had some opportunities there. So got to reach out to some of our local legislators and just let them know about how it went. But we did have DG Fuels Chairman Michael Darcy in attendance. We had a great opportunity to connect with him and just get the latest on their project and how Moorhead can be ready to serve their needs here in the future. And overall, I thought the workshop was very informative. It was productive, a lot of different connections, a lot of willingness from, I'll say, private industries, other legislators, just other groups that are in advocacies for this, that are willing to support us here in Moorhead. So I thought that was a great positive takeaway. The governor and many other folks mentioned Moorhead, obviously, in their presentation throughout the day. Even though that this wasn't specifically for the DG Fuels, this was to attract the industry. I thought that was great to see us get a little bit of shout out here as well. Last thing I'm going to mention here too, that I didn't have in the report was, I hope everybody has on their calendars that we have the Sunset on the Riverfront event here. Folkways has that this Thursday, August 7th at 6 p.m. That'll be at the American Crystal Sugars parking lot. We'll have parking available on the first floor of the parking ramp, parking over in this area here at the Comp Center, as well as just some overflow stuff closer to 3rd Street too. So we hope that you can attend. I have a call into Joe Burgum here today and the Folkways team. There is going to be hopefully be a community conversation held before the event, and just trying to get some community leaders and understand the importance of placemaking and where some things maybe as opportunities as we move forward, especially as the evolving of our downtown project happens. I will definitely talk to Joe to see if our EDA members can get that invite and make sure to get that shared to you all as well. So hoping for some good weather, hoping for lots of people to show up and enjoy a nice evening down at American Crystal Sugar. So that's all I have today.
Thank you, Derek. And with that, we will adjourn. Thank you all.